This is so beautiful because when somebody sees, hears, listens, reads a story of somebody that looks like them, it is so much more exponentially inspiring to see themselves as a future aviator. Aviation has so many amazing careers. My mission to elevate the stories of Latinas, I'm able to put a perspective and say, you know what, you can look like these amazing captains, aeronautical engineers, or traffic controllers, military veterans that are shaping the world, that 5-year-old and 8-year-old, to know, hey, when I'm 20, when I'm 25, when I'm 30, I can aspire to be just like her.
On Air, brought to you by Women in Aviation International, strategic partners, Amazon and United.
Today we're at the 5th annual Latinas in Aviation Festival, and I'm so pleased to be here at the College Park Aviation Museum in Maryland. Thanks to the Maryland National Capital and Planning Commission, this event is hosted every year. And in the studio with me is Jackie Ruiz, the Big Factor Media producer, founder, and the creator of Latinas in Aviation. Jackie, welcome to On Air today.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Kelly. It's such a pleasure to see you here for the 5th consecutive year. We're here making history.
Making history, that's right. Jackie, could you tell our listeners, how did you get started in aviation?
You know what? After surviving cancer and having an opportunity to take a discovery flight, no doors on the plane, I knew that it would be a little closer to God. So for me, it was more of a divine inspiration. And I just could not stop thinking about aviation every day of my life. And I started doing the marketing for an aviation school. And then that led to the decision to become a pilotina, or a Latino pilot.
That's fabulous. And what kind of aircraft do you fly, and what did you learn in?
Yes, I learned it in Illinois, and I got my license, my sports license. Mostly, I've been flying Rimos, which is a light sport aircraft, Vectors, and as of late, I've been flying more of the Piper Arrows and the Cessnas 152, 172. So getting into a little bit bigger aircraft and more stable and a little bit faster.
Oh, fantastic. Now, we're here today at this event, like you said, for the 5th year. You have shared the stories of over 116 Latinas in aviation. Each story is very unique and shares their personal journey. And today you've welcomed yet another volume. So tell me, how does that production get started every year?
You know what? When aviation found me and I surrendered, I said yes. I was able to then combine my other two passions. The other passion is publishing. I am a 38-time author, and Volume 5 of Latinas in Aviation represents my 38th personal book. And with my publishing company, I've had the pleasure of publishing over 500 stories for authors in 34 countries. So imagine combining aviation with the power of storytelling through books, which I already had 16 of my own books when this came to me. And then also the ability to activate hearts and minds through my other hat, which is marketing. As a marketing agency, I've run a marketing agency out of Chicago that, I always say marketing is the activation of your heart, your mind to provoke action. And when you combine that with beautiful imageries, with beautiful photos, with beautiful stories, you have unbeknownst to me, I was going to create an amazing global movement of Latinas in aviation that leads us to 5 volumes now.
And I see today, and at every event you have, there's a lot of youngsters here, and they want to see and learn more about aviation and aerospace, and you're opening the doors and their eyes to that opportunities, not just to the children, but to their parents, to the school counselors and educators. What is your message to them as they learn more about Latinas in aviation?
You know what? I think this is so beautiful because when somebody sees, hears, listens, reads a story of somebody that looks like them, it is so much more exponentially inspiring to see themselves as a future aviator. Aviation has so many amazing careers. And, in 116 stores, we're able to depict so many different careers and the diversity of the careers themselves, and to be able to bring this to communities where otherwise they might not see themselves. I mean, if we look at in the commercial aviation space, and if we look at the entire population of the United States, we have 300 million people. Only 0.02% of the population are pilots. From that perspective, and then only about 5 to 6% are women, and less than 1% are Latinas. So now, in my mission to elevate the stories of Latinas, I'm able to put a perspective and say, you know what, you can look like these amazing captains, aeronautical engineers, air traffic controllers, military veterans that are shaping the world of aviation and beyond in their communities. And that's what I love the most. I love the ability to just create a perspective of seeing themselves, and the only thing that divides them, separates them, is the time. That 5-year-old and 8-year-old, to know, hey, when I'm 20, when I'm 25, when I'm 30, I can aspire to be just like her.
I have to say that there are so many dreams out there of young girls wanting to get involved in aviation and aerospace, but frankly, they maybe think that they have to be pilots. But again, you're opening their eyes to all the many career aspects. And as you said, air traffic control, engineering, manufacturing. I think that's so important to educate these young girls to learn that there are so many career opportunities in aviation.
Absolutely. And you know what? Part of what we're doing with our Fig Factor Media Publishing, we are creating children's books that are focused on STEM. So for one aviation school in Kansas, we're creating 9-book series of all STEM careers so that the children can see themselves in these beautiful characters. And we're actually producing one for College Park Aviation Museum too, of a young Latina, Sofia, and Arrow, which is the beautiful dog that lives here in the airport. And I got to meet him this morning for the first time. It is just so heartwarming and so beautiful. I love it.
That's great. So this morning, let's talk a little bit about this event. Actually, what's happening here in the museum. You started with a fly-in, and now there are many activities and hubs of learning and reading books. Can you just tell us how the day is organized?
Yeah, you know what? This event is so close to my heart, and it features, like you said, from the fly-in. We had some of the smoothest air today flying in, to activities where the young kids can actually interact with the pilots, the aeronautical engineers, and different careers in aviation. We have different stations where they can do interactive activities. We also have a simulator. We're going to have music. We have some food trucks outside. But of course, the most beautiful thing is that we're surrounded by airplanes, all kinds of amazing airplanes. I mean, doesn't get any better than this.
And today you have many representations of the women of Volume 5, but then also from your previous books too. Can you tell us a little bit about who's actually here from the book?
Actually, yes, we are so excited because we have representatives from Volume 2. We actually have a board member that participated in Volume 2, and she is an airport architect and also a private pilot, and she's right here with us today. We also have another private pilot, Francis, that used to work with the FAA, or I think she's still active working with the FAA. And we have a captain from Colombia, Maria Maldonado, that is joining us today from Volume 3. Volume 1, actually. I mean, we have Volume 1, 2, 3, and 4. We have several. Zauri from Volume 4. She was able to do the fly-in with me last year, and now she's here. And you can identify them by the beautiful scarves they have, because every volume is different. We have yellow, and we have navy blue for the DMV area. We have purple, we have teal, and now it's pink. It's all about the pink. So that's why we're sporting this beautiful
I love
scarves
the
with
pink.
the pink.
I love the pink. That's great.
And my earrings. I don't know if you.
Oh, very good. That
With
matches
their
the cover
stories.
of the book.
There, it's the actual book with pages that open up.
Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. So creative. I actually had the pleasure, thank you to you, to write the foreword in Volume 4. And as I sat and wrote that foreword for Volume 4, I reflected on the fact that over these years, you've created, I called it a hub of inspiration. You're inspiring so many girls and women of all ages and backgrounds, and that's so important. So, What are some of the top things that you want to resonate to our listeners today? The importance of a hub of inspiration.
You know what? Storytelling is such a beautiful thread of that brings the fabric together of our community. And the more that we share the stories, the more that we document, encapsulate, and package the stories, the body of work becomes bigger. That body of work becomes what resonates in our community. It becomes this beautiful fabric that represents us all. And for me, to have a permanent record in the Library of Congress, so that many, many, many years from now, your name, including your name, Kelly, you'll be in this amazing recording history that of all the stories that were shared. So the stories continue to be stories of overcoming adversity, inspiration, challenges, bringing all together. And really, the output is how they all got to achieve their dream. And they are living their dream and they are aspiring for new dreams. And that's, I think, the common theme here, is that when somebody opens up their heart and they say, I have something to say and I'm going to be brave to open up my heart and say it and be vulnerable, it allows other people to raise their hand and say, I'm inspired too. I'm ready to be like you. I'm ready to achieve, because you've paved the way for me. So that's the significance of documenting, even for AI and ChatGPT. I mean, if we don't create a reference of who the stories are, I mean, if you type in Latina pilot, but there's nothing to go on that because it hasn't been documented. We haven't taken the time to say this is what it is. Then it'll give us a reference that is not cultural relevant and it doesn't apply to any of that. So I take this job very seriously, this mission. It's not even a job, it's not even a project, it's a mission of documenting the stories because I know that 300 years from now, somebody will know the actual stories that, paved the way in our community and brought us together. And that's it gives me
very
goosebumps
important. I know,
thinking
I love
about
it. We're going to take a quick break and we'll be right back with our conversation with Jackie Ruiz.
Women in Aviation International's Aviation for Girls program is dedicated to inspiring girls around the world to pursue their dreams and empowering the next generation of female aviation and aerospace leaders.
So let's talk about, again, as you said, kind of documenting and building the history of Latinas in aviation. Just steps away from us here in College Park, it's a beautiful gallery called Latinas in Aviation. But I understand you're getting ready to open up a very exciting project in Wichita, Kansas. So why don't you share that with us?
We are heading to the air capital of the world to unveil the second permanent exhibit for Latinas in aviation. Now, with the historic approach of the 5 volumes and all the stories that we've shared, documented in this next permanent exhibit, and I became one of the founders for the exhibit in the context of their Women in Aviation remodeling. They actually have Amelia Earhart's and several different airplanes. They have like different airplanes like participate in the Air Classic and some really historic things for the Women in Aviation exhibit. And now we'll have a permanent record of Latinas in aviation within that exhibit. And I was proud to be, a contributor, a financial contributor to that. And we know Wichita is the air capital of the world. And I just found out a few years ago. And to me, going there, coming back, I made a stop when I turned 40 with a Piper Arrow and 400 teddy bears on tow. And that was my first stop to celebrate my 40th birthday.
So it's almost like you're coming back home to the place where you
Yes.
started. So,
So beautiful.
that's very important. Similar to our nonprofit organization, which is Women in Aviation International, it's such an important resource to have to build community. We need to network, we need to mentor one another and offer scholarships. And I feel like that's part of the vision as well of Latinas in Aviation. So could you maybe share some thoughts about that sense of community, much like WAI?
Absolutely. And by the way, anybody watching this episode, I highly recommend that you become involved with WAI and just make an impact with the organization because it's amazing. We've had the pleasure of collaborating for years. I believe that Latinas in Aviation, through the scholarships that I do with young Latinas here in the States and also abroad in Latin America, to a young woman in Brazil, to doing programs at different schools. I'm heading to New York to talk about, Latinas in Aviation soon. And, doing like flights and, we have some merchandise. So, of course, the most important thing is all the books that we've been able to document over the years, and 116 stories. So as long as, God allows me to continue to do this, I will continue to share the stories. We have the volume 6 waiting list,
Oh, good.
which is so exciting. So, and we have the color already
Oh,
chosen by,
can you share that color with us for
yes,
volume 6?
young aviators in Puerto Rico in my last visit chose the lime green as the official color of Latinas in Aviation Volume 6.
Excellent, excellent. And I'm sure you'll be here next year again to have the
Absolutely.
6th annual
Yes.
Latinas in Aviation. That's fantastic. I'm going to ask you about a motto that you often say: taking off is optional, landing on your dreams is mandatory.
So this phrase, taking off is optional, landing on your dreams is mandatory, is something that has aligned with my purpose in the commitment that I have to elevate the community. Because sometimes, you go through turbulent times. Sometimes it gets rough. Sometimes it gets difficult. But every time that I think about it, it's like, there's not a day in my life that I don't think about aviation. But there's also not a day in my life that I don't think about landing on dreams. And just that commitment of saying, you know what, whatever it takes, whatever obstacles, if you create a vision that is bigger than you in that moment, you'll be able to overcome every obstacle. And one of the third most sold books in the world, that sold over 20 million copies, it's called Men's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And he said, if you create a vision that is bigger than you, it'll keep moving you forward, and all the struggles and everything you go through will be nothing, because you will have landed on your dreams. And for me, it's this renewal of my gratitude, my commitment, my love for what I do, and always focusing on the landing and focusing on not only my dreams now, but I'm the best thing that that the title that people give me is dream catcher. And you know how magical that is for somebody to be called, I mean, it makes me emotional to be called a dream catcher. So that phrase comes to life tenfold, for me. It's all about the landing.
Yeah, there you go. It's beautifully said, Jackie. I, if you don't mind to share some personal insights as to, you are a cancer survivor, and you did share that surviving that illness really made you reflect on the here and now, and maybe the urgency to get your messages out and to get your work progressing. So can you maybe tell us a little bit about that journey for you?
Thank you. Well, January 9, 2007, I was in a hospital bed with every tube you can think of, having been told that my digestive system was completely rebuilt and reconstructed due to a congenital condition that happens in young Japanese girls. That later I found out that I was 23% Asian, or actually 18%. That was at 23 years old. I was 18% Asian, which is so incredible, because in this part of the hemisphere, this condition that was precancer level 4 by my liver is found in 1 out of 150,000 people. And I had type 2, which is 3% of the cases found. So it was like winning the lottery twice backwards, but it led to saving my life. And as I'm laying in this bed and being told you might die in the next 2 weeks, or you might be fed out of a tube for the rest of your life. And this was the second time I had heard the word cancer in 2 parts of my body. I had been, from the age of 21 to 23 and beyond, living with, PTSD and being scared. But when this happened the second time, there was something in me that activated the sense of urgency to serve. And there's not a day that goes by that I don't think about the gratitude to God for allowing me to be on this planet. And I always ask, please allow me to continue to renew my contract of gratitude through acts of kindness. And for me, Latinas in Aviation and my other nonprofit, my nonprofit organization, the Fit Factor Foundation, my agency, my work, my speaking, all goes around this sense of urgency to serve and to transcend and just to, be alive and here now.
Well, we're so glad that you are here to share those stories, and it doesn't seem like you ever give up, and so that's in gratitude as well. I must ask you, what is the future for Latinas in aviation?
You know what? I will continue to bring those stories to life as long as I live. And when I got to volume 5 with the largest volume we've ever had and a waiting list to volume 6, even though volume 1 took me 9 months to find 22 women, and here we are, volume 5 with our waiting list for volume 6, it tells me that the community is ready to continue to inspire and the aviators, aeronautical engineers, air traffic controllers, and every other profession in aviation is identifying themselves as a Latina in aviation. And as long as that happens, I will continue to create and bring those stories together in ways that I don't even know how. Be, Beyond the books, so many other ways to do that. No, so I'll continue to surrender. I'll continue to say yes, and I'll continue to invest my resources, my time, my money, my energy, my creativity to bring this community and continue to elevate our stories, which is ultimately why I want to do this, to continue to transcend. And the day I'm gone, I just want people to remember that makes it emotional. Um, that that I was here, that I existed.
Yeah. Well, you're making a wonderful mark and making a difference in so many young women's lives. I know it's hard to pick, and I love so many of the stories too, because to be honest, when I'm reading those stories, the authors are very open to sharing their challenges, their triumphs, and maybe how they had to step back and make a career change. Do you have any top of mind stories, or just in general, for me, reading about their different backgrounds and how they uh, transition from a different career path? But do you have a favorite story or one that you can maybe share? I know it's hard.
It's like asking a mom to say who's your favorite kid, right?
Yeah.
But I will tell you that I have been on a tour, been on 4 time zones in the last 10 days, in 2 countries, and just all over the world. Thinking I got to share a room with Captain Patricia Leon Tomic. She has been in aviation for 40 years. She has been in Alaska Airlines for 30 years and 25 years as a captain. And getting to share a room with her as a roomie, I got to just fall in love with her and her love for life and zest for life, and how her as a little girl, being taken to the local airport with her father, no background in aviation. She said, "This is what I want to do. This is what I want to do. This is what I want to make happen." And I was just so captivated because she's just such a beautiful and such an incredible, she's an eminence, in aviation. And to be able to share a room with her was beautiful.
Yeah. Well, Jackie, thank you so much for being a dream catcher and an inspiration to Latinas in aviation all around the world. And we so appreciate being here with you today at the 5th Annual Latinas in Aviation Festival.
Thank you so much. And remember, landing is mandatory. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Kelly.